Happy holidays, everybody. This is Dr. Karen, and welcome to Second Chance Living. I am so blessed to be with you all tonight, and I know that this is an exciting time for everyone all over the world. We got a lot of big things going on. First, I want to thank you for watching this video via YouTube. It was supposed to be again live on Periscope, but we've been having some technical difficulties, and for some reason it won't upload properly on my tablet. And recording on my phone is taking a lot of data, a lot of memory, all that we don't want to be bothered with tonight. So as promised, I wanted to come on and do a video and give you something just to inspire you for going into the holiday season. And the number one thing is we're getting ready for the new year. So as promised, as I've said before, we're not going to talk politics. We're not going to talk media. We're not going to talk what's happening, in the newspapers, in the store, in the gossip column. We're going to talk about you. We're going to talk about us and how to be better and how to begin to live in our second chances. So again, thank you. Happy holidays. This again is Dr. Karen, and I want to thank everyone who has helped me get these things together. I have the most wonderful children, and my daughter is my production manager. She does very good work for me. So I want to thank Kelly and Christopher for being such great inspirations, and I want to thank all my family and friends. I have some people that were ready to come on Periscope tonight, so I want to say hello and thank you, and God bless you to all of you. And we will be on soon, or we'll use another platform because we're also looking at Facebook Live. But this channel is very visible. My YouTube channel is ready for you to share it. Take time to share with other people how we're being inspired together for Second Chance Living. This will be soon. More videos. I will be producing some CDs for you to listen to either in your home, in your car. You'll be able to download MP3 versions of some things. And also, I have a series of booklets that will be coming out. As a matter of fact, I have one that's called Free to Be Me. It's a short booklet with some journaling opportunities and just something to speak to you about second chances and being free to be yourself, being liberal and having your motivation and your inspiration out there where you feel good about who you are. It's a self growth book, and you all know that I am a life and spiritual coach, a certified life and spiritual coach, professional counselor, Christian counselor, and doctor of spiritual counseling. So I'm bringing a faith-based message or platform that everyone can understand, grasp, and begin to move forward in your life. I want to get that free book to you. So I want you to visit my website at www.karenldonald.com, www.karenldonald.com. Go to my form page, request an opportunity to be in contact with me, and I will respond to you with an invitation to join my mailing list and also send you a link to a wonderful book. I promise you, I am not a person that will haunt you with emails. I don't like doing that. I don't like getting a lot of them, but I would like to have you be a part of what I'm doing. And we're doing things internationally, so I'm really excited. So tonight, we're going to talk about changing your power into pain. Change your power, or change your pain into power. I'm going backwards. Change your pain into power. Be empowered by it. I'm looking down, looking at things. So we want to change your pain into power. And what is my pain? What is our pain? Our pain are the things that we go through, that we've gone through, that maybe hinder us in our past. They're the things that make us forget to sometimes we forget to remember that we are really blessed to be here, that we're blessed to be able to move forward, and we're carrying some pain for many years. A lot of people that I talk to and work with, they've struggled with a lot of things ever since their childhood, and we talked about that before. And we're dealing with so many things happening so rapidly in our lives. Things change over and over and over again, but we don't get a chance to deal with the pain that has happened to us in our life. Can you be empowered by your pain? Absolutely. One thing that's very important to remember is I always tell people, if you are alive, then everything that's inside of you that is supposed to give you something for your future is still alive in you as well. Everything that you are purposed to do is still alive in you and waiting for you to realize it and waiting for it to manifest, because there's a reason for you being here. And some things can happen to us so bad. Many times I talk to people about the things that I've gone through, and you all know I've written a book now, and I'll go into that in a few moments about my first book. But so many things happen, and I don't want to base my experiences and compare them to yours. But I just want to give you a few examples. I've talked before about childhood pain and trauma. I've spoken before about major drug addiction and alcoholism, and even rape, abuse, and severe poverty. There's people that say, well, I was not depressed when I was a child, or at least I don't think I was. I grew up in a good household, but I was teased in school. I was rejected by a group of friends. I wasn't loved the way I wanted to be loved by my parents, by my sister, my brother, by my family. There could be a little thing that has grown and affected you all the way into your adult life. And on our first video, I spoke about being 9 years old with a 40-year-old body, being 10 years old with a 50-year-old body. There are people that we see all the time that will tell you the reason why they are in a holding zone, the reason why they are still stuck in their lives is because they have not moved past that. And it takes honesty, it takes truth, it takes you taking the time to say, okay, I'm going to be honest with me and decide today that I need to deal with, remember, and move forward from those things that have bothered me. We're going to begin to remember and release and be refreshed by where we are now in our lives. And that's real important. So let me tell you a little bit about what happened to me and how I moved past and made my pain and changed my pain into power. I have a question that I ask a lot of times in my teaching series, and it says, do you understand, or do you even know the power of your wounds? Do you know the power of your wounds? And when you're in pain, there's wounds and there's things left over. Some years ago, when my children were very small, I have twins now that are 30. I was able to find myself after years of suffering through different things. Some things had just built so high that I couldn't even realize how much I was suffering. My aha point was a topic that I speak about in my book, and it was suicide. And a lot of people, even watching now, you have gone through many things and you have thought about it more than once. And I work with people all the time that can say, it seems that I was doing fine. I feel great, but I can't find myself. I can't find my reason. And they feel like it's such a blockage on their heart, or a heaviness and a weight on their shoulders. And that's because there's things that have to be broken up, and you have to be able to envision a wall, a hindrance in your life that has to be broken and destroyed and taken down. Well, I had gotten to that point, and basically, after not being able to go through with the suicide, I woke up in the morning after a divine opportunity. It wasn't my choice not to commit suicide, but God has something different for me. So I told God that I would work in his purpose, work in his will, offer things to people as I needed to, not knowing what I know now is I'm at the point now where I'm offering things to people around the world and have been now for over 20 years, and over 20 years sober, over 20 years whole, over 20 years without smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. I mean, that's enough right there. And then the drugs and different things. But how it started, I was asked when I walked into a particular church where I have remained now for 27 years. And I always want to thank God in my life. And I want to thank Apostle Wayne T. Jackson and Dr. Beverly Jackson. And they're at Great Faith Ministries in Detroit, Michigan. I walked into that church and did not know how I was walking into my purpose. And I always tell people having a spiritual mentor is very, very important. Motivation, inspiration, someone who can spiritually take you to a place of understanding where you are. And now I work with so many wonderful clients who are looking for spiritual counselors. I'm missing something spiritually inside of me. And we'll talk about that later. But after a period of time when they began to know my story, it came opportunities for me to share my story more. And my story to me was painful. My story to me wasn't fun. It wasn't about success. And all I knew is that I came out of it and I was free and I was alive. So that I never will forget the first time after about 3 years being a part of this great ministry that somebody asked me to do a television interview with my pastor, Apostle Jackson, on TV. And so I had no money still, really. I had not a big wardrobe or anything. So I had to go out and get a suit at a secondhand shop, which I did. And I prepared myself to do this interview. And we were on a local television station at the time in the Detroit area. At the same time, within weeks, I shared my story prior to that on in a magazine. It was a local magazine that a friend of mine actually was the editor, and she shared my story and my picture, so forth. So I'm sharing openly things that cause me pain, and what I'm telling people are the truths about things I went through and how grateful I am that I'm still here and still surviving. But I don't know how I really felt in my heart about it because things were not all the way right. And so sometimes you begin to share things about yourself and things are not going to seem all the way right. But it's not our time. And it's a divine time and you have to go ahead and be brave. So I shared the story and I'm telling you, in my heart and in my mind, I'm saying, oh boy. So I'm telling all my business. I'm telling people everything I used to do, how I was in the street, so forth and so on. And in my mind, I'm saying no one's ever going to want to give me a job again. I had a career with radio and television before I hit rock bottom. And I want to go back. I want to do these things. And I said, it's never going to happen again. It was, everybody, a matter of 5 minutes after doing this live TV presentation that I walked to the back of this building in the lobby area. And the first person that greeted me was our pastor, Dr. Beverly. And she said, you did a great job. People are calling on the phones, wanting prayer. And we're all saying we couldn't have ever told that story. We could never do it. People are calling the lines. They want prayer. They're crying, men and women. How am I going to make it? If she can make it, I can too. And of course, I'm saying, I haven't made anything. I'm just trying to do what people are telling me to do. But literally what we're talking about tonight, spiritually, my pain turned into power. What do you mean, Dr. Karen? My pain empowered someone else to feel better. The story in the magazine. I'm standing in the store Someone said, I saw you in a magazine. Don't I know you? And I'm telling them, yes, I did a story in a magazine. Oh my goodness. I said when I read the article, if this young lady can do this and still raise her 2 children and they're alive, I can too. I'm a prostitute. I'm on drugs. And it made me go find a place where I could go to a shelter and be better. Then a couple of weeks later, someone literally walked into the place where they knew I was going to be and said, I cannot stay, but I had to tell you that your story of your pain and how you've come out of that pain empowered me. And listen, at that time, I did not know that I had come out of my pain because there's a process to being free, there's a process to being healed. Soon after that, I had a young lady come to me who told me she'd been raped and she had no idea whether she could live through that thing. And I'm telling her while she's talking to me, you're living now. So if you're living now, your second chance is here. How I started saying and talking about second chance living, I'll tell you, I talked about it in my first video. Second chance living happened to me when I woke up one day, looked outside, saw the sky, saw the air, it felt the air rather, and felt the breeze and saw the trees and the birds and the flowers and realized for more than half my life, I had not seen any of these things through sober eyes or through a mental ability to understand and physically to be able to go and just be me. And I said, man, I have a second chance. And do you know that has been my mantra for over 25 years? Every day you live is a second chance at life. So if you followed me, if you see my articles, if you've read any of my books, you see that mantra. Every day you live is a second chance at life. So what am I telling you now? I'm telling you that I told you part of my story. And year after year, day after day, month after month, I have been empowering others through pain that I've gone through. And no longer is that pain a present part of my life. It is no longer allowed in my space as that because I have found myself empowering others. And what makes me feel good about it is the comments I get from you, the reaction I get from people when they tell me I feel so much better when I see the tears coming from the eyes of men and women working with teenagers, working with children who feel better because what I'm sharing them is with them is raw transparency that has now done what? It pushed me into my purpose. And what I want to understand more is how can I even walk every day in more purpose? Because as you're walking in your purpose, destiny is coming into play. So what I want you to do right now is think about the pain that you've ever gone through. Think about the pain that you've ever gone through. And have you seen yourself in positions where it seems like all the time someone's coming to talk to you? You have a person or people that's always saying, listen, man, I really want to talk to you about something. I just love being around you. Have you had a woman come and say, girl, you always look so nice. I admire you. I'm looking at you. Your hair looks good. Your makeup looks good. And in your mind, you're going, please, 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 you have no idea what I'm going through. You kind of want to sit in your own pity party and have your own time. Well, what you went through, what you went through has divinely put you into a space where it's now time that you can be empowered by sharing your stories with others and you can change your pain into power. You know, I'm going to remind you, remember when we were growing up and you know people now that they're sitting around telling stories and someone will say, you know, and 10 years ago, I was cut right here. See that scar? I was cut right here and I went home and I survived it. Remember when somebody, I mean, it's people out there, they've gotten shot, and people talk about how they fell when they were riding their bike. And I got a cut on my knee right now that I was riding the bike and I was riding too fast. And, you hear people talking about the war wounds. And so most of the time, people don't realize how much power is in that story, because if they're telling you that they're showing you the cut and they're showing you the place that they got shot, and they're telling you when they were young, they fell playing basketball, and one day I reached up to hit the volleyball and broke my wrist, all these stories, people are not realizing that the power in that story is not what happened, it's that it happened and they survived. So you're listening to the story, you're going, what? You had a dog chase you down the street and he bit you 6 times, and you have a war wound, but you're telling the story. This is the same way you need to see it spiritually. This is the same way you need to understand it for yourself before you even begin to go out. Because what's going to happen is, moving into 2017, you need to be able to share your story. You need to be able to see your purpose come to pass. Many of you are living outside of your purpose because you have not dug inside of you and brought what's in there out. So what we find are people who, I deal with accountants that are almost millionaires or millionaires, and they tell me, I've never been happy. And they're making people rich. They're managing money. They're getting 20% of this million and these thousands. And we're looking at them from the outside in saying, boy, they have the kind of house they want, the car they want. They have the kind of husband they wanted to get, or a wife, but they're not happy. So that's why when you see the stock market fall, that's why when you see companies close, you see people's lives absolutely crumble because they had nothing else. But you see people who are very successful that sometimes give up everything, start all over, and start a nonprofit business, start a company, start a foundation. You see megastars and celebrities and athletes who have started foundations, and when you listen to them talk about it, they're often more excited about that than they are about being a major NFL football player or a basketball player or a movie star, because they have dug into themselves and found a passion and brought it out from the inside out. And most of the time, it is because of something they've seen. You hear the stories of people saying, listen, I started this foundation because my mother raised me as a single mom, and I want to give back to the children. You're seeing a lot of that right now during the holidays. You hear movie stars talking about how they were raised in a old, impoverished neighborhood, and perhaps abused and neglected, and now they want to start a beautiful care home for abused women and abandoned young men. They're pulling their success now out of their passion. So their story of pain has now become empowered. They are now seeing the power that was in their wombs. Years ago, I was an athlete, and I played volleyball. I was actually looking possibly to have a professional career in volleyball. And I chose a career and was picked up really quickly by radio stations and TV stations. And this was during a time that I was struggling also with substance abuse. So it was taking a little toll. But going back to the point is, I had beautiful legs because I was an athlete and I loved to dance, and I was real active. I rode my bikes all the time. Stuff I need to go back to, but we're not going to talk about that right now. And my legs were gorgeous. And I would go places and wear my athletic shorts and wear cute short outfits and do different things because I knew someone would say, oh, your legs are gorgeous. And literally strangers would walk up to me if I was in a city, downtown area or traveling. And I knew it was because I worked so hard to have these legs. They were athletic legs. And I loved, like I said, I love to dance. I had a trainer. I had to have strong legs. Well, after high school, a few years later, I was in a car accident, and it was a head on collision on an expressway during a snowstorm. And during black ice, a friend of mine and myself were driving back to work for lunch. The car spun out on the freeway, and we had a head on collision with a city bus. Now, the car wasn't going that fast at first, but when it started spinning, it was going very fast. So the equipment in the car, the sound system that he had, the in the car, it cut my knee real bad. It cut into my knee. And so we were pulled on the side of the road. We got on the side of the road. I never will forget, a gentleman jumped out of his car and he took off his white dress shirt because it was during the day. We were near the downtown area, and a gentleman got out of his car, took off a white dress shirt, put on his jacket, put back on his jacket because it was cold outside, and he tied his shirt around my knee to keep pressure on it until the ambulance came. Now, when the impact of the bus happened, I fainted when I saw the bus coming towards me. And my friend held me up with his arm. I was in the passenger seat. So his arm broke. My knee was cut. So I went to the hospital, woke up, and went by ambulance to the hospital. My mom and dad rushed to the hospital, and they're saying we're going to be able to release her, but she has to have about 45 stitches. And it was like from one area down my knee to the middle of my leg. So I get out the hospital hours later, and I kind of carry on with my life. I actually had some events that we went to. I had crutches, but the thing is I had a huge wound at a place that was, to me, my jewel. It was one of my possibilities in life. It was one of the areas that may have taken me to another level. It was one of those things that I had pride in because it was what I worked on. It was what I bragged about. It was what I showed off. And now I had 45 stitches down the top of my knee, down near the middle of my leg. So one day I'm out about 4 months later, and I'm walking to the store one day, just going out and getting some exercise. And someone came up to me and said to me in a very, very jealous, not jealous tone, kind of manipulative and wanting to be mean. Oh, so what are you going to do now that your knee and your leg is not perfect, Karen? And immediately, without thought, I said, what I'm going to do is live, because the stitches that I had in my leg was not even the most important part. I began to tell her the story of I am going to live because I was in a head-on collision with a bus on an expressway. During the day, on ice, me and my best friend are still alive. I was able to go to the hospital after a wonderful man who I never saw again, who may see this and remember. He stopped and took off his dress shirt, a white dress shirt, tied it around my knee. The ambulance came on that freeway and took us to a city hospital where a good doctor stitched me up 45 stitches and told me I could go home. And I was able to see, I was able to talk, I was able to tell the story. And I pulled that day the power of my womb. Do you know the power that is in your wounds? Do you know the power that's in your healing? There's a story of survival that is behind the wound. It no longer matters to me. I still have the scar. And I still am proud of what I do. I walk, I talk, I'm living. And I told her that story that day, and years later, I'll tell the same story. The power of that is not that I no longer had a leg without a scar. The power in that is that I have a scar with a story. The power in what you have today is you have a scar that has a story, and it is empowering. It is very much spiritual. And as soon as you know how to dig that out of yourself, you're going to begin to see, first of all, how good you're going to feel, and then how much you're empowering others. There's people watching me right now that you know that there's people that want to talk to you, and you've kind of hesitated because you don't know what you should say about your story. There's people watching me right now that wants to write a book. You might want to write a booklet. It doesn't have to be a 900-page novel. It could be a powerful story that could be 32 pages that will take you overnight to do. There's someone here that you haven't spoken to your children or your family about what you've really gone through. And you know in your heart it will help your children to grow up to be the man or woman you need them to be, because they need to make choices based upon the people that they trust, not the people on the outside of their inner circle. But what you have to do first is I want you to take time to dig out of yourself. I want you to take time to be honest with yourself. Think about the thing in your life right now that has caused you some pain. It's caused you memories that you have kind of swept under the rug and you haven't dealt with it. Today is your second chance. Every breath you live is a second chance. And I don't want you to begin to think about it in a way that makes you depressed, that it makes you angry. If you begin to cry, I want you to begin to cry knowing that I'm here and I've been tricked this whole time. I'm here. And no matter who talks about me, no matter who tries to bring up my past, no matter who tries to say that I'm really nothing, I am, because I'm here. And whether or not anyone ever celebrates the fact that you're here, you need to look in the mirror every day and say, I'm here, and I thank you, God, for another chance. You gave me a second chance. You woke me up and you gave me another opportunity to live in the purpose that you've given to me. Take what you've gotten, see the value in it, see the process, see what you've gone through, and realize today, as you're going into your new year, that there is power that comes from your pain. The question I will ask you today is that, do you know the power of your wounds? Do you know the power of your wounds? I know this has impacted you. I have enjoyed speaking to you. I want you to get ready to celebrate and continue to have a wonderful holiday season. There's so many people that are celebrating in many different ways. And if you say today, you know, Dr. Karen, I didn't have the money I wanted to buy certain gifts. I don't have a spouse. I don't have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever. I don't have a family to sit with and have dinner. I don't have enough money right now to go and buy a huge dinner like the one that I saw on the commercial right before I watched you. If you can get with a family that needs to hear a story, then that's the family that you'll be with. Call people on the phone. Tell them happy holidays. Tell them Merry Christmas. Give them a purpose and remind them that there's a reason for the season. There's hope, there's favor, there's grace, and there's second chances. I want you to go today knowing that you've been empowered with that. And I want you to use my motto. I want you to go out and use my mantra. Dr. Karen said, Every day you live is a second chance at life. And if you're still alive, your dream is too. I want to thank you for taking time to watch this wonderful video. I've had a great time sharing it with you. I hope you've enjoyed it. I want you to go and I want you to share it with your friends, share it out on social media. Tell people about Second Chance Living. A reminder, go to my website and submit your form for us to contact you. And with that, I'm going to make sure that you get a copy of a e-booklet that I have that's available. It's called Free to Be Me, and you're really going to enjoy it. It's an easy read, but it's something that you can look at really every day and begin to make affirmations and be free to be yourself. I can't wait to hear from you. If you'd like to email me, I will email you. I would love to hear your stories. I would love to hear your testimonials. And I'm praying to see you in a city near you real soon. But until then, remember, every day you live is a second chance at life. So make every moment matter. The guest is again